Hello everyone, and welcome to Make Believe Storytime's mini story series, in which each adventure is inspired by the roll of the story dice. My name is Beatrice, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that today's story, The Thought Printer, will be read for you guys by actor Mayara Sartori. We are extremely grateful and excited to have another lovely guest reader here at Make Believe Storytime. If you'd like to see what else Mayara is up to, you can do so at the links in the description box below. Now, are you ready for another adventure?
Hi, I'm Mayara Sartori, and today I'll be reading you a short story called The Thought Printer. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Jody who loved inventing things. She was going to change the world one day. She was always looking for ways to make things better, to make people happier. From the day she put on her first prosthetic leg, Jody had been fascinated with technology and how it could help people. Not all her projects worked. In fact, a few of them had been quite disastrous. The cat still hadn't forgiven her for her kitty clean water jugs she had installed in his litter tray. But Jody's intentions were good, and her ideas were full of color and imagination. She was currently working on a way to transform thoughts into reality. She had watched a program about 3D printing and immediately set to work building her own version. Her parents had refused to buy her an actual 3D printer, and so she had been forced to use what she could find around the house. And now, the thought printer was almost ready. Electrical debris littered the bedroom floor. Jody had constructed a thought printer from an old motorcycle helmet she found in the garage, fitted with elements from her clock radio, mom's hairdryer, her brother's games controller, which he thought he left at Luke's house, dad's old laser printer, and a string of fairy lights. Several colored wires trailed out of the back of the helmet, some of them plugged into the laptop on Jody's bed, and others into the printer, which was mounted on the wardrobe door, to give it height, in case someone thought of something big. Now, she said to herself, time to test it. She needed a subject to test the thought printer on because she couldn't be in the helmet and use the controls at the same time. So Jody pulled herself up onto the mattress and reached across the bed for her leg. She eased it on and got to her feet. "Mom, can Lana come over for tea?" she shouted as she wandered downstairs. There was a muffled "yes" from the kitchen as Jody disappeared through the front door and rounded the fence into Lana's driveway. Lana was quite used to being a guinea pig for Jody's experiments and had absolute faith in her friend's brilliance. "Can Millie come?" she asked as she bounded down the front steps. Jody rolled her eyes. "Of course she can come," she said, smiling at Lana, who was already clutching Millie, the rag doll. They made their way upstairs, and Jody directed Lana to the chair in the middle of the debris. She placed the motorcycle helmet over Lana's head and adjusted the wires. "Sit very still," she instructed, and clicked a few controls on her laptop. "We need to start with something simple, like something you really want. A unicorn alarm clock? Don't you have one of those?" "Yes, but two would be better." "Of course," Jody said. "I'm going to put the visor down now to make it dark, but you should close your eyes as well. The helmet has a 10-second shut-off time. Human beings can think of a lot of things in 10 seconds, almost one thing per second." She looked at Lana and dialed the timer down to 5 seconds, just to be safe. "Ready?" Jody asked. "Ready," Lana said, and closed her eyes. "One unicorn alarm clock coming up." Jody pulled the visor down over Lana's eyes and pressed go. The fairy lights lit up, and there was a whirring sound from the helmet. 5 agonizing seconds ticked by, and then all power to the helmet shut off. Jody took the helmet off Lana's head, and they spun around to watch the thought printer as it fired up. The dismantled and rebuilt toner whizzed back and forth on its railing, shooting out bits of thoughts. The girls watched in astonishment and horror as gradually, from the ground up, hooves began to appear. Not alarm clock-sized hooves, horse-sized hooves. As the printer reached the unicorn's shoulders, something odd happened. The thought printer added a belly button. Jody looked at Lana. Lana, what did you think about in the helmet? I was thinking about the alarm clock to begin with, like you told me. But then I thought how cool it would be to have an actual unicorn. And then I thought it would be even better if Millie was real. And then I thought about the unicorn again. And then you took the helmet off. Jody's mouth fell open. All she could do was watch. Stood in front of them was the result of Lana's 5-second thought train. A creature that was half unicorn, half living ragdoll. The creature took a step, and its hoof chimed against the floor, just like an alarm clock. The end.
And that was it, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the story. And now I have a few questions for you. Were you surprised to learn how many thoughts a person can think in just a few seconds? And if you had a thought printer, what would you think into reality? We rolled 4 story dice for this story. The images we got were a person playing with dolls, 2 people holding hands, a person wearing a strange electric hat, and a person wearing a lab coat looking at a clipboard. Now, why don't you write a story about what happened next? Or you could write your own story using some or all of the images we rolled. For more activity suggestions, free colouring pages, and storytelling videos, follow Make Believe Storytime on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.